it's the eclipse season, and it seems like shadow work has been becoming the theme, very popular during these days. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone seems to be experiencing um, some shadows in their lives at the moment. And I am super honored to be talking about this subject today because it is the biggest tool I have learned, the core of my self-discovery journey. I am super incredible, thankful, grateful that I learned about shadow work early in my journey, and I have combined astrology and many other things with, I think shadow work became almost like the lenses I see life through. So I'm going to share a little bit about how I use it, and I'm just like super happy to be talking about it because again it has helped me so much, and I cannot wait for people to learn about it, especially if you're not super familiar with it. um, it's going to transform your life. So welcome back to another video. If you have been following my channel, if you have been watching my videos, you know that I am starting a business guided by my intuition, that I've been sharing in my channel everything that I've been learning in the journey of starting a business guided by my intuition. So I share a lot of my self-discovery journey, all the tools, all the experiences, all the breakthroughs, insights that I've been collecting during this time. Um, so I also want to share a little bit about my personality. The more I grow, the more I believe that it is so important to be aware who we learn from. And I think also in our journeys, there are times where we don't even know. And I think it's part of the process to, we don't even know who we want to learn from, and it's part of the process to just try different people. But I wish everyone, especially in the space of spirituality and self-discovery, we all are more open to share exactly who we are, because that, I think, creates like, what's a good way to describe this? Like, it is faster, easier for people to relate to what we are describing, to really connect with the wisdom of what we are sharing. We all have gone through different experiences in life, and definitely the fact that we have gone through similar experiences, that makes that what I have learned is going to serve you, to help you. So just to describe a little bit, if you are new to, if this is the first time that you see me, so I am starting a business guided by my intuition, and the business combines creativity and spirituality. I am a very sensitive and proud to be a very sensitive person. I have gone through a journey of self-discovery, a spiritual awakening, for the last, I don't know, 4 to 5 years. And one of the major things that I shift in my process was thinking that being a sensitive person was the worst thing that could happen to me, to now feel and believe that it is a superpower. I feel very honored to feel life so deeply and connect to people and experiences in a very deep and profound way. So I'm very into spirituality, as I said, astrology, human design, gene keys, all these kind of things. I grew up with a monk, Zen monk dad, a very spiritual mom in Colombia. So when I was 22, I moved to United States. So I have that mix in my background. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an action taker person. I am here and super excited to share all I know, everything I know about shadow work. That was a little bit about me. If you feel like you relate to what I described, the person I am, super happy that you're here. If maybe you have a friend or someone that you know that sounds like has similar experiences to what I have experienced in my life, please feel free to share the video. I think it's easy to start explaining what it is by explaining you how it presents. So usually when you are judging others' behaviors, when you feel like you're judging a lot, we can say that judgment and acceptance are opposite. When we are running life from a place of acceptance, we are with our hearts open and we are in this loving, expansive energy. And when we are judging, we are usually in operating from a place of fear, from a place of contraction. So we judge and we reject in others what we judge and reject about ourselves. So usually what's happening when we are judging other people is that the person might be doing something that we do in some ways as well, or the person is doing something that is touching a wound, an experience, trauma that we might have experienced. But somehow we just haven't, taken a look of what that is. I'm gonna share a little example. I think I have another video where I shared that I noticed that I was judging very consistently these days someone in how they are constantly searching for external validation. And I was just like, I was annoyed by the whole, thing. I was like, everything that this person would do, I was like, can you stop you searching for external validation? When I noticed that it was bothering me, that it wasn't just like a funny thing, when you look at a kid that is throwing tantrums and you are like, they're just like being very intense, like maybe they had a lot of sugar today. When it doesn't come from that place of acceptance, when it comes from this place of judgment, I was like, oh, maybe it's an invitation for me to take a look of where in my life I'm still. And a lot of the times, this is something that I would love you to be aware of. A lot of the times, it doesn't have to be at the same level the other person is doing it. A lot of the times, that's how magical life is. A lot of the times, it might be very little, it might be a very small version of what you are seeing outside of you, but it's the invitation of life to take a look of that small version of what you're doing, just to remove it from your life and create more freedom, because that's ultimate what we get when we work with our shadows, when we shift behaviors that don't longer serve us, right? We create a lot of freedom in our lives. So that's something that I really wanted to share, because some people might feel like we see this crazy behavior from other people and we are like, I don't think that I am doing exactly that thing. It doesn't have to be the same way. Sometimes it's even in a very sneaky way that you are like, oh my God, it is in this dynamic, very specific dynamic with this very specific person, that I am operating from that place. I'm sure you have here that idea that life is always speaking to us. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's very quiet, but it's always an opportunity to expand, to improve, to become more authentic, to evolve, right? So um, that's one way we can look at it, when we might be also having that same behavior. But what I was saying earlier, I think I said it already, maybe at the end, that what it can mean also is that the behavior of the person is touching in a wound um, from our past. So maybe the way this person is behaving reminds us, I'm going to use the example of a very angry granddad. We had a very grumpy granddad. Maybe if you are from South America as well, it's very common. Not all grandpas are like that, but we have seen that some grandpas are, very into drinking / alcoholic. I have seen, I think, remember grandparents of my friends when we were little being super angry, like getting drunk and being very scary. So maybe the behavior of that person is reminding you the painful experiences you have in your life, that maybe the invitation in that case, it can be just to work through those emotions, feel those emotions, just to release them and let them go. So there's always something, there's always magic. That's something that I want to emphasize about shadow. It is the most magical work we can do. It is a very incredible tool in self-discovery. There is, because now that I'm giving you a little context, and you understand probably a little more of what it is. So When we talk about shadow, it's something that is not in the light. And when we do shadow work, we bring the things that are the shadow into the light. So it's magic, you know. It's in other ways of describing this, we talk about alchemizing, alchemy. So you're making magic. You are transforming all the darkness into light. Yeah, if we want to get a little more spiritual. So one thing that I want you to know from now on is that also there's always a good side of the shadow. Let's say if we go back to the example of this person behaving super crazy, is reflecting back a behavior that we have. So let's say the case is that we are as crazy as this person, right? And the crazy behavior that we are seeing is that maybe we are reactive. Yeah, it's one that I used to have. Sometimes it still comes up in my life, not in the same intensity, but I used to be very reactive. So when you think about it, where like we are reacting, that's just like a force, that's like a massive peak of energy, you know, like you respond quickly and aggressive, right? If you think about energetically what that is, that's in a tremendous ability to respond, not from a good place, but that only tells you that there's a lot of courage, that there's a lot of strain, right? So when you see, you know, reactivity is the dark side, and you see the good quality of that reactivity. We said strained and ability to respond. That's the light. When you start seeing the positive aspects, you start seeing, which is also the magical part of shadow work, you start seeing that, oh, so you can choose to look at from either this or this perspective. So whenever you start seeing like you're about to have that behavior, now because you saw the light, and it automatically happens. I don't want to say that right away, it takes a little practice, but now that you know the light side of the shadow, whenever you're going to have the behavior, now it is in your conscious. So now you get to choose. And little by little, you start operating from the light. One thing that helps a lot, I think, yeah, there are many people out there that you can also do a little research to go deeper in the definition of the shadow. But something that a lot of people recommend in psychology about how we can integrate and work with our shadows is to talk about it. And a lot of people do this without being aware that they are integrating their shadows. A lot of people are very confident, and you know, at a table, at a dinner party, they start saying, oh my god, I reacted so badly with my partner last night. You know, when you share it, you are bringing it to the light too. You are creating a different perspective. You are not keeping it in the dark. So when we talk about shadows, usually it's this idea that it's in the dark and we deny it, we don't accept it, we don't want to see it. So for people that at least can speak of it, they're creating awareness of that being a part of who they are. When we keep it in the shadow, we don't even want to admit that they are part of who we are. So I'm sure you can think of different examples, friends that you might have say like, oh god, you are very, like, you only cancel all my plans. And you know that you have other friends that have say the same thing to this friend, and maybe this friend is one of those that never admit it. So that person probably needs a little shadow work to at least own it and say yes. Because the moment what happens, which is also, you know, the beauty of this, the magical part aspect that I've been saying, is that in the moment we start owning it, it starts losing a weight. Yeah. When we don't own it, it's almost like it's more visible. and more people see it. So if the person is just like, no, I don't cancel all the time, it is you, or something like that, it just becomes more, it's louder for, it's just bigger for people to see it. It's like, come on, like, of course you do it. So many people tell you the same. um but yeah, I think you guys are getting the point when we start owning it, and we are like, oh sure, it's just like, I like changing my mind because I like to be more spontaneous, things like that. Then the person that is saying like, oh, you always cancel my plans, you're like, yeah, that's the fun part of this friend, that they're very spontaneous. It's true. So we take it in a different way, it loses charge. um this is some of the ways how we can understand what shadow is, how we can integrate it, how we can work with it. I think when we hear, for some people, I would think that when they hear shadow work, it can sound like a scary thing. And it can be honestly the most fun and powerful tool, again, in the self-discovery space. I just gave you a little bit of information, some good tools, how you can approach it, how you can get more familiar with what shadow work is, how you can use it. Please feel free to ask me anything. For now, have so much fun in this eclipse season, integrating any behavior, any belief, anything that is presented in your life with shadow work. And I hope to see you in my next video. Peace and love.